You see? I can't even scare a crow. They come from miles around just to eat my meal and laugh at my face.
Live from the governor's mansion, you're listening to the Crows Corner podcast.
So I got with a sick ass clip and went all out.
Yo, yo, yo!
Hey yo, what up?
We back.
Episode 9, Crows Corner.
It's your boy Adam L.
This is Wahamiyd.
And this is Sick Cuz the Gov.
Shout out to the DMV, all through the East Coast.
West Coast, South Coast, worldwide. How y'all doing on this Saturday, man? Unprecedented on a Saturday. You making moves, you know?
Trying to push through. Been a rough week for me.
No doubt. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Yo, shout out to, my two young ones. Only way I'm getting out on a Saturday is if I shout them out. So, Amina Naobi, shout out Khalil Ali, shout out Daddy Loves You. I'm working. I'm on a podcast, you know what I mean? So,
shout out to my daughter in Atlanta, Sable Wright. She will be, I'll be granddad, man.
Congratulations, man.
Like in 3 weeks.
That's awesome, man.
Congrats.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Papa,
granddad.
Papa, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what's up. Time flies. She in college too, right? Went to college?
Not yet. She gonna have the baby first. And
No
then
doubt. That's a blessing, man. That's a blessing. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, shout out to my other two daughters, Andrea and Geneva.
Shout out. Salute.
And Ricky B. You know who you are.
No question. Shout out to the whole fan base worldwide. East Coast, West Coast, worldwide.
Right.
Crows Corner. We salute you, no doubt.
We do this for y'all,
It's for the people at the end of the day,
We need a PayPal. Like, they can donate donations. Seriously, we need to set up a PayPal.
I feel you on that.
Keep this moving, keep this running,
No doubt. Because it's for the people at the end of the day.
Yep.
And we want to give y'all something that y'all can take home, you know what I mean?
And,
Food for thought.
giving donations so we can give back to the community as well.
Right. We want to start, winter drives, food drives, seasons changing to get a little cooler outside. That's what it's really about, the grassroots.
Exactly.
Helping people, you know what I'm saying? Each one teach one. You know
Because
what I
at
mean?
the end of the day, this is a movement. And what we doing by y'all supporting us, we supporting the streets, we supporting the community, we supporting the world.
Right.
Give us feedback on what's your, what charity you think that we should support and stand behind.
No doubt.
We can work together and get it done.
True. And, we just got to support each other in general. We in some tough times right now. Times ain't really never been easy, living in America, but we going to make it through, And so that leads to a segue to today's topic for segment 1 is a deep dive from a topic we did in an earlier podcast, criminal injustice. So we want to do a criminal injustice 2 because we got a lot of reviews on that, a lot of positive feedback on the criminal justice piece. So it really is a big issue, a big topic that you got to really look at in more than one sitting. It's a lot of food to digest, you know what I'm saying, with that piece. So really it starts with the criminal justice system is impacted by the government,
This
It is an
country is
entity.
a nation of thieves.
And we got sound bites this week, so we really popping.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
No doubt.
So you talk about the criminal injustice system and the disparity amongst minority populations, and you talk about how these entities are institutions of racism, really, when you think about it, because without just laws and just practices, then how are you really identifying what a crime is or identifying what a wrong is, where the very laws that's supposed to govern that are unjust or biased? You know what I'm saying? One article I read was basically saying that when African Americans go to jail or when an inmate is in prison, that there used to be a point in time where the government would sponsor their rehabilitation. And when I say that, they would pay for educational resources, trade, different vehicles for them to to rehabilitate themselves from their current situation. All that ended in 1995, where Congress passed a law that's saying that inmates can no longer receive Pell Grants. You know what I mean? And so when an inmate who's in that situation, they committed whatever crime, you know, they're trying to rehabilitate their lives, and part of that rehabilitation process is preparing for when they release back into the community, how to reintegrate into the community and be a positive, not only a role model for their families but for themselves and as citizen at the end of the day, you know. And part of doing that is reinventing yourself, you know, if that's through going back to school and learning a discipline or like learning a trade or something like that. All that takes a process, and it takes time to do that. When you don't have the ability to do that, you know, where does that leave you? You know, how does that impact you? You know,
It just takes away a lot of your options when you get out.
absolutely. And so you have that recidivism there, where I spent this time in prison, I came out, and now there's nothing for me to go back to except the crime, except to that prison system. And like, I've spoken to people who basically said that, you know, they went to prison and they wasn't faded like by anything. Like, I could do this all day if it boiled down to it, you know. And so it's about giving people those resources and those opportunities to better themselves and to better their lives. But when you have a system of racism, an overarching system of oppression that sees a certain part of the population in a negative light and criminalizes them as something less than citizens, then you're not going to have that effort. You're not going to see those resources put in that kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Right. And basically the reason would be
Political parties in this country do not meet the needs of people on a day-to-day basis.
and I think that was a part of the reason when they decided they wanted to bring a 13th Amendment to say that slavery was illegal in the first place. When they brought that amendment out, that amendment says that the United States Constitution abolished slavery and involuntary servitude except as a punishment for a crime. So if that's except as a punishment for a crime, then that basically tells me that this amendment was nothing more than just a
Word
compromise.
games. Right, exactly.
Because, you know, on the one hand, you had a large segment that wanted to keep slaves, and the other one that did not, or they said it did not. But when you got it based on this thing of us not being fully people, they needed to find a way to keep the whole separation in place.
What is it, like 1/3 of a man or something?
Or 3/5.
3/5?
3/5 of a human being. You know?
Right.
What's the other percentage?
He wasn't
Beast?
even a whole person.
guess.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He wasn't even a whole person. In a lot of ways, beasts had more rights than
Right.
African American people.
Like, it's easy to explain, all right, we're going to put a bunch of cows in a pen. We can put a bunch of dogs in a pen. You know what I mean? So if you're a partial animal, then it's not a problem putting many of you in a pen.
And so not only that, we
Man,
want to put a
baby,
lot of
deep.
y'all. Yeah, we want to put a
I
lot of y'all.
gotta break
in
this
pen.
down. If I
Yeah.
hit, I gotta break it down.
Yeah. Even though y'all 13% of the population in whole, more than half of the population in prisons look like you, are African American.
Let's not even go to like the mental aspect of the like some men, they come out different mentally. Not only that, it's like some of them come out and don't even desire women no more. That's even deep. So when you look at the real broad aspect of population control, and how can we minimize
A
you know what I'm saying, a
population.
population, what tricks of the trade or devilish
Yeah.
antics we can use to
Technology.
to shorten their life span. How can we make them extinct? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
And so there's always that underlining presence of racism. You know what I'm saying? Racism in itself is just purely evil. If it's 2018, 2019, and you're not sure if racism is evil, you might as well go live under a rock or something.
I don't think it's ever going to change. I don't think racism itself ever going to change. I think it could either get worse or it could decline, but it's never going to change because as long as you have the
it's part of the
people who
human
have-
condition. You know what I mean?
as long as you have that running through generations, like you can have a household for 10 siblings, and their parents can teach them, far as no one, you shouldn't be racist, love all human beings,
Right and
quarterly,
wrong. Right
right
and
or wrong. But soon as one of those siblings go outside and interact with a child who's taught differently, and you don't know how that how that's going to change them mentally, so they can come home and spread
Right. An ideology, a belief system,
towards-
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's racism will always be here.
And
It's
so-
here since the beginning of time. It's going to be here at the end of time.
Right.
It's just whether it's going to increase or decrease. It's a continuous struggle and fight.
And that's what it's about today. That's why we having this podcast talking about this topic particularly, because it is a fight. Every day is a struggle. It's about combating their narrative with another narrative called the truth. You know what I'm saying? And so it's incumbent upon us and people who share our views and belief system to speak the truth.
Right.
Because if not, then people are absolutely misled by it, and people absolutely go down a path, and it leads to their own destruction. You know what I mean?
So what are some solutions that we can have right now today on this panel that either prevent the young youth or people in general from going into the criminal system, and what can we provide for them once they come out of that particular system to better that not only their lives but society as a whole?
We got to come together as a community. We got to come together as a people and look at our conditions and how we addressing those conditions with honesty and, you know what I'm saying, and integrity. Like, we in hard situations every day, 9 to 5 or whatever the case may be. We dealing with a lot of things, from violence to drugs to poverty. It's a whole gambit of things already set up against us. You throw in that racism, we dealing with a lot of stuff. So we as a people, I think us just speaking on it is the first step, one-to-one, person-to-person, you know what I'm saying? Being able to have that dialogue and to have that conversation and to say to people, look, we get where you coming from. We understand what your situation is. We know that the odds is stacked against you, but at the same time, like, you don't necessarily have to go down that path. And if you do go down that path, then there's ways to rehabilitate yourself, for lack of a better word, through knowledge yourself, knowledge of your creator, knowledge of your people, knowledge of your history, you know what I mean? Knowing all those things help to create an identity within you, you know what I'm saying? When you are aware of who you are, in the whole process, you might make a different decision, you know what I'm saying?
And you understand that you understand that the power within yourself to actually make the situation that you're in a different one. You don't always have to go left because everyone else went left. When you know that the right might be the better way to go. When you see that everyone's stuck in a long line, you don't have to go in the long line. You can go in the short one.
No doubt.
Because there's sometimes you might see like 7 registers open, and everyone goes to the first 2, and the other 5 they're just standing there like, we're here. You don't have to go to the other two behind them.
Right. Hit the self checkout. You know what I'm saying? Check yourself out. You know what I'm saying? Have some introspection and look within you. You know what I'm